Welcome to another episode of Gari-On Talks. Today, we're happy to welcome our next guest. What I know of her so far is she partners with Gwen Nunez Gonzalez on the Yurumein Project. Um, I was connected to her through Gwen. So I'm grateful to have the opportunity to speak to her and learn more about her and the work that she's doing. Um, so Dr. Jeremy Cayetano, welcome, Mabriga. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated.
Dangriga.
Good. So I will hand it over to you to talk to us a little bit about your background and your journey to where you are today.
Right. Kevogatarengo de Mr. Red, Jeremy Cayetano Nirbe. I'm Jeremy Cayetano. Um, I am the daughter of the late Cannon Jerris Valentine. And I had to put that in there because he has always been a champion and an activist for everything Garifuna. The upliftment of the Garifuna people, the promotion of the Garifuna culture, spirituality, all of it. Um, my mom is Lorraine Valentine. From an from a professional standpoint, I worked in Dangriga for most of my life. I was a teacher at Stann Creek Ecumenical High School, and then I was the principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical High School. And beyond that, I'm now the general manager for Anglican Schools in Belize. Um, as principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical, there's always a time when your eyes are open. I always thought that I was culturally strong and sound. I knew who I was. My father made sure that I knew who I was and where we come from as a people somewhere. I can't remember a day, for example, when somebody told me that there was an exile of the Garifuna people from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I just know it. I just have always known it. So I thought that I was culturally sound. And then while being principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical College, a gentleman came to the school. His name is James Cordis. And he said, my name is James Cordis. I'm a Garifuna from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I would like for Garifuna children to run in the Philadelphia Pen Relays. So that was like, we were all taken aback by that. Of
Mhm.
course, we had to share that the track team, if you're inviting the track team, is a track team. We can't cherry pick. But I understood where he was coming from, and we partnered on that issue. And then we got to know Mr. Cordis and his aims and his dreams for Garifuna people. And he was, and while we are working on getting the children over to the pen relays and all of that, we had other discussions. And his focus was taking the Garifuna language back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
Mm.
where it was born, right? Now, we had quite a number of staff members at the Ecumenical who wanted to visit St. Vincent. But with the communications that we were having with him, his aim was, let's figure out how we could get some teachers, a teacher exchange program or something.
Mhm.
That seemed far fetched to us, right? So we were kind of, on the fence with that. And then the principals conference, the secondary school principals conference in St. Vincent and the Grenadines came up. And I got to visit St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the first time. And even though I was there from a professional standpoint, I was there as principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical High School. Something just happened when I was there. Like all that I had heard about St. Vincent just clicked. And for the first 3 days I was there, I'm not going to lie to you, I was in perpetual tears.
Mm.
Just realization of who I am in the midst of all of that. The realization of what happened to our people. I'll give you an example. We were on the deck, on the on the on the bay. We were going to get into a boat to go to another island. And I all of a sudden I was weak and I was in tears. And one of the other principals came by and she said, "What happened? Did you get bad news from home?" It was nothing like that. It was just an awareness, a complete awareness. Our people lived here in this beautiful space on earth, and they were forcibly moved from there. And then I imagine the pregnant mother, the old person, the husband who could not protect his family, and all of that just overwhelmed me in that moment. The exile overwhelmed me in that moment. And then within that same space of time, there was a night we were at the school, and the prime minister came to give a presentation to all of the principals in the of the Caribbean. And in his speech, he was talking about all the like St. Vincent connection with the different islands. And then he paused and he said, "Where are my people from Belize? Where is my family from Belize?
Wow.
Where are the people from southern Belize? You are my family. The only reason why you are not here is because you refused to do the bidding of the king. You told the king to plant his own, whatever it was." But he just went on a rampage because he wanted everybody to know that our ancestry, we are the people who refused colonization.
Mhm.
And the tears just came again. Anyway, on the third day, I got a call at the school. Now I'm like, who would know that I'm here? And who would want to talk to me that is not through my cell phone or whatever? And it was Mr. Curtis, and he said, "I heard that you were there. You're in St. Vincent."
Mhm.
He reiterated all of what we had spoken about before, and he was in theirs and I was in theirs on the phone. For our people, for our culture, for our language, for our legacy. How sad it is that every evidence that we owned there, that we live there, that's the home of our ancestors, has been removed, you
Mm.
know. And we, in that phone call, we created the Yurumein Project.
Mm.
I came back home and there were 12 of us at our initial meeting because I called the teachers. I just called teachers and I told them what it was. And 12 teachers of Garifuna origin came to the meeting. And we started. Now, along the way, I know you probably have questions. Just stop me when you're ready. But along the way, because we were preparing to go to St. Vincent to teach Garifuna,
Mhm.
we realized that we are going to teach a language that for some of us has eroded in our consciousness, and we didn't realize that. We thought that we were Garifuna speakers.
Mm.
We thought that. So we were training to be able to teach. So first meeting happened at Miss Avis Nicasio. So how she was helping us initially. Avis is the secretary at Stann Creek Ecumenical, and she said, "All right, people, introduce yourselves to me in Garifuna. Tell me about who you are in Garifuna." Tagaru, trying to Gary Bay. All right. So her said, "This is where I work." So we didn't even realize.
Oh,
And then
wow.
that, further to that, we said, "Listen, right here in Belize, there is a need. Sorry, there's a need to teach this language right here. Understanding what Mr. Cordes is trying to achieve and accomplish in St. Vincent. But if we are not careful, the same thing is going to happen right here because we don't use our language every day." We realize.
Mhm.
Don't use it every day. And because we don't use it every day, we are losing it. And if we are losing, imagine our children.
Mhm.
And so we kind of tweaked what we're doing. We did go, and we plan to go again. Myself, Gwen, and Josh, we did a preliminary trek to St. Vincent, and we taught Garifuna in two schools: Garifuna Language, Garifuna Music, Garifuna Drumming, Garifuna Dance, in two schools. And we plan to go again. But majority of the work that we're doing and that we plan to do is right here in Belize. And I'm going to pause
Mhm.
for a question.
Okay. So thanks for sharing all that. It's just amazing to hear how, it all started. I'm a person who like that kind of details. Um, so thanks for sharing that with us and at of how all this started, the evolution of it. And and I definitely that's one of my goals, my dreams to be able to go visit St. Vincent one of these days, to be
Right,
able to
right.
see and experience, that type of feeling because it's powerful. I mean, it changes you. It helps you to see
It
things
does.
differently.
It does. This summer, and we're going to. I noticed that there is a feedback when I have the device down flat, so I'm trying to hold it. But as I'm holding it, I'm noticing it shake. So I will try.
No,
Um.
I can hear you fine. Don't worry. I can
Okay.
hear you just fine, which is
All
what
right.
matters really. Yeah.
All right. So we were taking our young people this past summer. We were supposed to take them, and as soon as the festivities are over, we're going to engage them again because we have a youth.
Mhm.
And the idea is the young people are so powerful when it comes to music and dance.
Mhm.
And we wanted, along with going to teach the language, we wanted our young people to react with Vincentian young people.
Mm.
Um, Practice Wanaragwa, practice Abay Mahani, Aru Mahani, practice Punta, Parana, Sungluir, and put that on display in the streets of St. Vincent and also on the stage. And we thought that that was going to be so beautiful. Unfortunately, life gets in the way, finances get in the way, everything else gets in the way. And we were
Mhm.
to get them there. But that's one of the aims of the Yurumein Project, to teach and have young people help us to facilitate. Because taking them to their ancestral homeland and just being in that space where they can understand and appreciate who they are and where they come from and why cultural preservation is important,
Mhm.
we believe will make a difference in this fight that we're in.
Mhm. I like that. Uh, I agree with all that you've said so far in terms of, the young people. They're
Yeah.
the key. They're the future, and everything starts with them. If you're taught the importance of something, if you know the importance of something, you grow up valuing it. It becomes a part of you, it grows with you. So that's definitely the key. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this show or this initiative is to highlight people like you, doing such work, to highlight, to bring awareness to what the language is, who our people are, why it's important. Hearing
Right.
some of the stories of our people, hear about their experiences because it matters.
It
Other
really
people
does.
are
It really
seeing, they're
does.
hearing, young people are listening, they're watching, they're waiting for guidance, for direction. And if they see themselves in people like you and me, you know, they'll know that it's possible. They just need to put in the work and of course, once you realize the value of something, it makes a difference. So
It does.
that is
It
why I'm
does.
doing what I'm doing, you know. So thank you to people like you for, for being willing to, you know, to have this conversation and bring more awareness. Much appreciated.
Definitely. Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely.
All right, so that's the Yurumein Project.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell us a little bit about what it was like for you growing up Garifuna?
Wow. Um, the wonderful thing about it is that I didn't realize that I was growing up Garifuna. I was just growing up in the space where I work now. I am conscious that I was growing up Garifuna. And the reason for that is everything about Garifuna Duo was loud and proud in my family, in my household. Everything.
Mhm,
Everything. My parents, both of my parents, insisted that one, we would not have heirs, we would not have any kind of feeling of superiority to anybody.
mhm,
But then we would definitely not have any kind of inferiority amongst anybody, right? So we learn to love humanity. Anybody from any ethnic group, we learn to love and embrace. But we also knew who we were, where we come from, and we were proud of that. Um, Two languages were spoken in our house, well, Garifuna and English only. Unfortunately, for the most part, it wasn't a requirement for us to respond in Garifuna, but we understand Garifuna fluently.
mhm.
And sometimes you take what you consider to be the easier way out. If I knew then what I knew, what I know now, every answer I would have given would have been in Garifuna. But yeah, um, so my father, like I mentioned before, was always a champion for Garifuna Duo. My dad and my mom were, well, my dad was one of the founding members of the Wari, I call it Wari Baga Baga. I think they call it Wariga Baga. But I'm just used to what I'm used to.
Mhm.
I'm used to saying it Wariga Baga dance group. And so we grew up going to practices, so we're familiar with with a lot of songs, a lot of I remember going home, there was a song that I liked from the practice. So we're walking home and I'm singing, and then my dad stopped me dead in the tracks. That is not a song that is sung by children.
Ooh.
Madam, honey, don't let me hear you singing that song. But that's just to say that we were immersed.
Mhm,
Dinner table, we always had one meal together. That's the evening meal as a family. And when that meal was finished, my father would push his plate to the center of the table, and he would start to drum and sing.
mm,
Either a Dugu song or a Punta song, or he would drum and sing. So we were immersed. My father baked cassava bread.
mhm,
And we would, as a family, go through the entire. There were ladies from the community who would join. So as a family, we would go to the farm where and help get the cassava. They would bring it home, and then you know what they used to do? They used to have the grater, the eggy, and
mhm.
they would knock the eggy and sing.
What?
They used to call it teremo egg. They're actual songs that go with cassava baking, and the only reason why I know that is because I experienced it. They hit
Wow.
the drum with the eggy would be the drum, the grater, big, you know, the big long tall grater with the stones in it, big,
Yes, yes.
and they would hit it
Mhm.
as they
Yes.
bring the cassava stick, or after it's peeled, they hit, and then that is the drum, and then they hit it, and then they would sing. Thermal age, I know about that. And then
Mhm,
they would put the grated cassava in the strainer. I'm trying to remember the name of strainer anyway. And then somebody would sit at the end of it so that it squeezed good. It
Mhm.
would
And,
be,
Roguna, you mean?
sorry, the
Or just
roguma, yes, yes. They
mhm,
stuff, they stick it up with they stuff up the roguma with the cassava, and then they had like a chair like thing, but you sit down on it, so all the thing come out. I remember that.
mhm,
I was fatty. And
mhm,
then they
mhm,
would spread it on the comal,
mhm,
and then they would bake the cassava. It was 2 days, 2 day process from beginning to end. I remember that. We
mhm,
were definitely immersed in the culture. When it comes to grand ball practices we would go to, and then um, until they decided that it was time for us to sleep, we would be at the grand ball. So we grew up in Garifuna, whoa, 100%.
mhm. Okay, great. And, in terms of, um, children around you, whether nieces, nephews, or kids, um, do you teach them the importance of the language, and do you try to pass on the language to them?
All right. So you asked two questions, and so my grade will be 50%, or maybe 25%. Because I've definitely passed on the importance to them. But my children, my children's father and I did a poor job of passing on the language. Very poor. But I can say that um the only saving grace I have there is that our children know that they are Garifuna
Mhm,
and they're proud Garinagu. And where well I've been trying to get them engaged in our actual classes, because
mhm,
like I said, we did a poor job of passing on the language to them. We're trying
mhm,
to get them involved in the classes. My mom started a class with her grandchildren, because my mom is one of the teachers, one of the Yurumein Project tutors.
mhm, okay.
Um, and she started a class with just her grandchildren. And that's something that we definitely need to promote and push, because
Mhm,
again, everybody got busy and everybody
mhm,
got caught up, and then we abandoned the initiative with the grandchildren. But it's something that is definitely needed, because if we are not passing it on, it is not going to live and thrive.
mhm,
Even the Yurumein Project, our primary goal is language teaching. And we've been on a year's hiatus. We haven't taught for about a year. And we're starting again in January, when we are now in meetings in getting ready. And our tutors are asking, what took you so long to call us to teach? We have been waiting, and they're holding our feet to the fire, which is good, because we
mhm,
did take too long to start the course again. I was encouraged by a call that I got from the counselor in one of our high schools, and the counselor was asking, that's a high school in Belize City, if we have classes for high school students, because she would like for the
mhm,
students at her school who are not necessarily Garifuna, but they do teach English and Spanish. She wanted them to have another option, which is Garifuna, and I was floored. I was like, really? And so when we start again, classes again in January, we are having a class, an actual class of high school students across Belize, Garifuna or not, to get the word out there, to get the language out there as mainstream as English and Spanish, hopefully.
mhm,
Our plan is to go in and talk with the principals at one of their meetings, the high school principals, and encourage them to give the students who join our classes points or credits once we give them the monthly attendance, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because we know that students like points and grades.
Mhm. Oh,
So
yes. Oh, yes.
it's an
They
that
like an incentive. If you give them an
yes.
incentive, it makes it more,
Yes. So we are having a special class. Hopefully, I say hopefully because we don't know. Yesterday we were supposed to do our ad. Since we're starting in January, we're supposed to record our ad, but we canceled it because of the weather.
Mhm.
And so I asked them to stay tuned because then now we have to get the videographer and everybody ready, prepared for a new date. But we
Mhm.
are going to be offering that additional online class
Okay.
for high school students, and then hopefully, and these classes are only our preliminary, right? We have
Mhm.
other long-term plans that we hope, we pray will reinstitute the language here in Dangriga.
Mhm. Okay, that's great. And when that ad is out, you could share it with me, and I will share it on my page, so people can, the word can spread.
Right. And one of the
So,
things that we do as the Yurumein Project, it is our baby.
mhm.
So we have never charged for even registration, nothing like that.
Mhm.
All you
Wow.
have to do is to commit to come.
Mhm.
Just come. And our tutors, and I told you how willing they are, they commit themselves for the duration. The next class is going to be a year and a half. And our challenge is that in a year and a half, we want our participants to be speaking Garifuna,
Mm.
speaking. So that's a challenge. So we're incorporating the community. We're asking each person who signs up to have a mentor,
Mm.
meaning you will have somebody who you can call and talk with at least what you got that week.
Mhm.
So you call your auntie, your granny, your neighbor, your somebody, and tell them about the class that you did this week and practice with that person. We're trying, we didn't have that in place. Now, some of them, especially with the high school class that hopefully will have students from all over the country, it might not be possible for everybody, but we are going to see how far we can do that so that you see when you're learning English and Spanish in school, and of course, I'm not tearing down English and Spanish. We need English to be able to communicate and survive in 2024. We have to have that. It's the official language of our country. And then we're in Central America, so Spanish is we need to be functional in Spanish. But what
Mhm.
we're saying is that they have a language that they need to be functional in as well. We have a language that
Mhm.
we need to be functional in as well. And
Mhm.
when you go to school, English is every day. Spanish is almost every day. We will have a class once a week. And because of that, we are looking for ways to strengthen the classes. And we believe that one of the ways, because we still have that valuable resource in our homes, the granny, the auntie, the neighbor. One of these days, those people will not be here, same as we will not be here. So we want to take advantage of that resource, that
Mhm.
invaluable resource, and have them connect with somebody and tell us who they're connecting with in trying to strengthen their knowledge and their flexibility in the with the speaking the language. Flexibility is not the word. Fluency
Mhm.
and their ability to speak. So that's what we're doing in 2024 to mid 2020, 2025 to mid 2026, and we're hoping that we'll have good returns there.
Mhm. Um, so in terms of in terms of the language, how did you? become more fluent in the language, in the Garifuna language?
Fighting to speak. My dad had a saying, right? My dad said this. My dad would go to stores in Dangriga and he would make the people in the stores uncomfortable. And sometimes when I was with him, I was uncomfortable because he will speak Garifuna. He will speak Garifuna in any Chinese shop, any shop. He will talk because
Mm.
they're here. And he didn't see why he has to speak something else. When you are in Dangriga, your shop people should know how to speak and communicate with me in my town where my language is spoken. And he, when he goes to deal with the phone, anything, the cable, anything, he can talk to the people in Dangriga. And he knows that they're not understanding him and so on. But he was making a point. He made a point.
Yeah, and they
Along with
remember him because of that, I'm sure.
yes. And along with that, he told me, no, not fool yourself. Everybody who wants to speak Garifuna knows how to speak Garifuna.
Mm,
Because if you are really interested, you are going to find somebody, some way of learning the language. He says if people can come from Canada, go to Hopkins, live there, and then come out talking Garifuna, then any Garifuna can do the same thing. He was adamant about that. It's everybody, every Garifuna who know how to talk Garifuna, ladega mabuse hama lu herenguni. That's what my father always said. So that was my challenge because what I did was, and what I still do, I'm at my mom's right now. When I came before he passed, as he's talking, so I'm responding. And when I say something
mm,
that is not correct, he would fix the tense or fix the words. But that's
mm.
what I did when I talked to Dr. Gwen. Now, Dr. Gwen, my aim is to be as proficient as Dr. Gwen. Oh, I admire how she Afaragada Garifuna, how loose her tongue is. She Terengal, she just I love it. That's my aim. I will be Gwen.
Mhm,
I will be able to speak as fluently as when I'm not there yet, but that is my aim.
mhm,
Garifuna Diego Mugue, why not?
mhm, mhm. Benaru, Benaru.
And I've learned, especially from that experience with Miss Avis, that you have to speak it and
Mm,
practice it so that
mhm,
you don't lose it. You
mhm,
have to speak it. I remember a Garifuna lady coming into the office. Miss Avis always laughs at this because she was right outside in the secretary area, and then I was in the principal's office. And this lady, now I am not going to be, I don't back away from a challenge. And her daughter was having some trouble at school. And she's talking to me in Garifuna because I guess she knows that I'm Garifuna. And so she did talk. So I the answer when the lady left and Miss came in. They say, you know that like away me they say "Ra."
You were trying though. You were trying.
I was not going to back away. Oh, me know what tell her, me know
Mhm.
understand. Shoes let me pack dead. Wow, let's go. you
Mhm,
you have to immerse yourself. You have to put yourself in the position. You have to try. You have to speak Garifuna in order to be able to speak Garifuna.
mhm. And so what advice would you give young people or anyone who have that interest, of learning? Maybe they can't speak or they can't understand or speak it, or they're in a position where, like me, I understand it because my parents spoke to me in Garifuna, but they didn't demand or they didn't insist that I respond in Garifuna. So I understand it, most of it, but in terms of having a fluent conversation with another Garifuna speaking person, then that's what I need to work on. That's what I need to work on. So what would you say to someone who is either, you know, totally can't speak or understand it, or halfway where they understand it but they
when they can
can't,
speak.
right,
I
have a
what
fluent
I would
conversation.
what I would say to those persons is you have to really want to, because if you want to, you make the effort. If you really, really want to. Sometimes we want something on the surface,
So we're not
but we're not take
putting
the
the
step
work.
to
Hmm.
yes. I would tell that person that there's still many people in our community, sometimes they're right in our homes, who are fluent. We can turn them into our tutors, into our mentors, and we could have from very simple conversations with them to more complex, and ask them, how do you say this? How do you say that? And I'm sure that our Garifuna elders would be more than happy to welcome the conversation and to be that mentor and support. Secondly, I would encourage the persons, as soon as our Yurumein Project ads come out, join us, join a Garifuna class and get moving. And even beyond the class, whoever it is that you could find, because that was the way I became more fluent in talking to Dr. Gwen, in talking to my dad, in talking to my mom, in talking to, and then I don't like to feel embarrassed, so you have to come out right. Like if I'm talking to somebody like Baba Roy, I will do my absolute best. I translate it in my head, and then here I go. Because I don't want shame. I don't want to be shame. The other day in the Garifuna language with the tutors, the meeting with the tutors, right? Because the tutors, their first, I want to say it's our first language, but we're not treated like that. They are so fluent. And so they asked my mom, because my mom is also a tutor, something about how come I am not as fluent as I could possibly be. I feel so bad. I'm a teacher to do a thing.
Hmm. I mean, you've clearly come a long way, but some
I said,
people,
yeah.
they can't understand that for a parent to be so fluent and a child,
Yeah.
struggling.
So that, and this was we this meeting was not that long ago. So it was kind of like a prick. All right. I know it looks so good front and they had tutors, but and they come.
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
But I would tell them really, really want to, because if you really want to, for example, when we're preparing to go to Chatham, and if we're going there for some official reason, we are brush up and we are doing best and we will try,
Hmm.
right? So we have to really, really want to, and put the things in place, put the systems in place in our lives. So when we talk to with Ma, with Pa, with Granny, with whoever is still alive, approach it in Garifuna, either be a Granny or either be a Ma, and take it from there. That'll be
Okay,
my
so
advice.
okay, that's great advice. I like that. And when it comes to you all vetting tutors, what do you look for in a tutor?
Well, actually we go out, right? It used to be just us in the organization, and then now we venture out. Right now we have, I would say, like 5 tutors, and then we also have assistants. But those tutors are actually teachers, and there are people who I know. For example, my mom told me about a teacher who puts videos on her WhatsApp day teaching her daughter and her son Garifuna. I said, "Oh, really?" We went after that person. The person agreed to be a tutor. And we also know, I think one one of our tutors is from Belize, which is our Garifuna school. our Garifuna school here in town. And another person, I have seen her on stage with Dr. Gwen, co-emceeing with Dr. Gwen, and quite young lady, young, very much young. And I
Mhm.
approached her, and first word she was, so we
Nice.
look for people who are. That's one of the. That's why I can only be an assistant. I can't be a tutor. I
Mhm.
am an assistant. I enter the class, and if the tutors are teaching a song that day, then I can join in and help. And
Mhm.
that's
Yeah, and help
my role.
coordinate and bring people together. Well, you have
So
to use
I
your skill and using it well too. So
right.
we have
So
people who actually teach, people who in charge of bring people together and coordinate.
right.
So you use your
Yes.
skills. So that's great.
So one of the main things is fluency. You have to be
Mhm.
fluent in order to be a tutor. And
And how do
then
you determine that? Is there like a test or a
well, it's
conversation that you have with
just
that person?
thus far it's just conversations that we have had and what we have observed. That's
Okay.
it. We don't do what, but we majority of our tutors have always been teachers,
Okay.
teachers who are fluent in the
hmm
language.
Okay. Okay, great. And like you were saying, I'm reflecting on what you had said earlier about, if you want to learn, you can. You just need to put in the work. And what you had said about, for example, people who come from other countries to go to, let's say, Hopkins to learn Garifuna. I It made me think about when I was in primary school in Holy Ghost. That's where I went to primary school. Um, One day, these two people came to visit our class. I guess they knew the teacher or something. But anyway, one was clearly a Garifuna, and it seems I'm guessing he was from Hopkins. And then was the next man was a white man, a Caucasian, and he was able to speak Garifuna. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
I was like, I want to be like him. So that
yes,
was just shocking
right.
and amazing to me. That
One
was
of
the
the
first time
things,
I ever witnessed that.
one of the things that I'm disappointed in is I always, when my children were growing up, I wanted to establish even a modest dwelling in Hopkins. That was my aim. And I would take my children there, for me to take my children there. Now, when I say modest, I meant the simplest kind of contraption for a home, and then just electricity, no TV, no distraction. So that they would want to be outside with the children of Hopkins so that they would learn and pick up the language. And I never did it. And now I'm thinking about it for my grandchildren, to do something like that where they would interact. But I'm getting to understand now that the children are not um, as willing to speak Garifuna as they once were in Hopkins. I hope that
Hmm,
is not true.
that's sad if that's the case,
I hope that's not true.
because
But I
they,
think
in my mind, historically, they used to be the
yes,
most
that is
fluent
the
of
hub.
all
That
the Garifuna
yes,
communities,
yeah.
at least publicly. So,
They for some reason they had the recipes, not the word. But they had what it took to hold on to the
mhm.
language when we're losing it here in Dangriga, we're losing it in PG, losing it in St. By Hopkins was
That's
the
a
last man
stronghold.
standing strong. Yes, stronghold,
Mhm.
I think is a very good word. So I'm hoping that that is still true, but that is something that I wanted to do with my own children. Take them holidays since I teach, I taught take them and just let them go and play marble, jump, skip, whatever. And then they would have to, because the children in Hopkins would, that's what they would be talking, so they would come back.
Mhm.
That was my lead dream that never came to fruition. But I intend to do better with my grandchildren.
Mhm.
because I see the need, I know the need. If I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have definitely done better with my own children.
Mhm. And sometimes that made me think, sometimes something has to happen to wake you up, you know, to make you see or realize certain things. So it happened to you. That's why you know better
Yes.
and you're doing better. You're making the steps to make sure, our language lives. So kudos
Right.
to you for that.
Right.
Great. So now I want to, if you'd allow me, switch gears a little.
Sure.
So I'm gonna share my screen and we'll play a game that I came up with called Garifuna Say, where I will show you some images and I'll ask you to tell me the name of those images in Garifuna, and then we can just discuss it as we go along.
Okay, I pray I don't fail, but let's go.
It's not about failing, it's about trying. That's the goal.
All right.
Okay.
Kebo.
Okay, Mo. All right. So can you see my screen?
It looks like a church, Ligilis.
Right, right. Binaru. You're right. And what does the church mean to you, or what does your faith mean
Oh,
to you?
I have three passions. Four. Let me start with I have four passions. One of them is my faith. One of them is my belief. Um, that isn't necessarily tied to my religion, but I believe that a personal relationship with Christ is the only way for survival.
Mhm,
I cherish my relationship. I stand firm that I am a Christian, and in spite of the direction that the world is taking has taken, I don't think that it is okay to just follow status quo. And I ensure that my relationship with Christ is genuine and seen through my relationship with other people. So I am actually in charge. I'm the lay director for one of the um, ministries in our church, which is the Christian movement. And I take that seriously because if you are going to represent Christ, in my mind, you better represent him with just every ounce of genuineness that you can find. So that's one. I have, like I said, I have three: my faith in Christ, education, and my culture. And I said four because I didn't want my family to feel like they're not my passion. And so I said I have three passions, and I said I have four.
mhm,
My children and my grandchildren, my siblings, my mom, yes. But
mhm,
the three things that I mentioned: my faith, making a difference in education, and really promoting the Garifuna culture, and by extension, all cultures. Because for me, for example, when we do, there's an online service that our church has, and sometimes they ask the schools to participate. And when that video comes from Corozal and the children are singing or saying prayers in Spanish, man, because that is who they are. And we are honoring who they are. And I think that that is important for young people, that is important for children. I would wish that everywhere we get videos, it would be in the native tongue of where the children they come from. But
mm,
um, those are my passions. So legally and church, God, my relationship with Christ, and following the way, the real way, is important to me.
mhm. And this photo shows family that you just spoke about. Family,
Yeah, le good family familia.
familia. Um,
What is the importance to me? Well,
mhm,
everything. Something one of the things that saddens my heart is that a lot of children don't have what I had.
mm,
I had my parents, I had my father, I had my mother, I had my father up to a year ago. And that balance was I had that. My children, they have both of their parents, but now we're in different homes, and that saddens me.
mhm,
A lot of many families are broken, and that contributes to broken children,
mm,
and that saddens me. I believe that as a community, we have to do more things to promote the sanctity. He's the libisha nigga out.
mm,
When we see a family falling apart, instead of running in for build them up and strengthen them, too often we talk about them, we deride them, we just use it as a gossip point
mm,
instead of visiting or genuinely trying to help. The erosion of the family, I believe, is hurting us and hurting our children. I believe.
mhm. And I think it's also important to, you know, despite, as they say, it's not just where you come from, no, but it's where you're going and the vision that you have for yourself or where you see yourself or where you see your life going. So not
Right.
because you come from a broken home, like you said, means that's all you know or that's all that you do. You can choose to do differently, you know. If you know the value of something or if you're taught the value of something, you can make the effort to do better and be better. So,
Amen.
and this photo shows children
Raphael.
around here. And
Warahia.
our children.
Yes.
All right. Like I've said, I believe children, are our future, you know. They're the next generation. They're who will carry on our legacy, after we're gone. That's why it's important to inspire them, to show them positivity, to give them hope, to teach them the importance of their culture, their identity, their language. Because only if they
Absolutely.
know, they can value it. If they're not taught the value of it, they will not learn the value of it. So
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
what I believe. So when it comes to um, teaching children, I don't know if you've taught children, the language, what's your take on how they are welcome or they are receptive to learning the language?
They are sponges. I have assisted in one or two of the in-person classes with the children. Mrs. Virginia Lucas
Mhm,
was a tutor with them for a long time, and they are committed. They bother their parents when it's Saturday and it's time to go, and they're like sponges, and
mhm,
they share with each other. They're willing to try. That has been our experience. I'm hoping that we'll have more children come out to the classes. Now, one of the things that I'm happy for is that NGC and Battle of the Drums, they created a curriculum that is now in the schools. So
Garifuna Language
hopefully,
in schools.
yes,
Yeah.
hopefully that is going to make a difference and make a dent. But I agree with you 100%. They're the ones who will carry this on, and they're the ones who we need to ensure are receiving what they need to receive from us, the adults, so that they are equipped to carry on. I have language show now for no. I will. My mom's charger is different from my charger,
That's
so
okay.
I'll
We'll
have
go
to
as
call
long
you
as
back.
we can go. That's fine.
Right.
No worries.
All right.
So you were saying
That
children
was,
are.
yeah,
Mhm,
children. We have to make sure that we equip them so that they are equipped to
mhm,
carry on from us.
mhm,
One of the things that we do as Yurumein Project is the honoring of the elders,
mhm.
and we're teaching the elders how to. We're teaching the children how to honor older people, how to value what older people. And this is one thing that we are consistent with. Every year we have this honoring, and our elders really appreciate it. There's one lady at the banquet last year. We charge people to go, but we don't charge the elders. We don't
Mhm.
charge the elders or the people who go with them, but we charge other people, so we cover the cost because it's an entire
Of
banquet.
course, of course.
And one lady said, "If I die,"
Mhm.
or yeah, she said if, she never said when. If anything happens to me, put my plaque in my home. Put this plaque in my coffin with me.
Oh,
They're so
wow.
happy about it. And that we are showing, we're trying to teach our youth that our elderly are valuable. And we don't go for like the people who would be the prominent people in the society. We pick 15 ordinary people.
I like that.
We have nurses, teachers, bicycle repairmen, seamstresses. We just pick 15. Oh, we had an Uraga man one time, but and then he passed away, and that's another thing we're noticing. Before he was able to get his plaque, he didn't come to the ceremony, so we sent it to him, and so we were going to have him as a special guest the following year. And he passed away. We wanted him to say an uraga for us the
Mhm,
night of the banquet, but he passed away. Several of our honorees have gone on.
mhm.
Yeah, but and he said he was waiting for somebody to recognize him long time for
Oh,
this talent that
wow.
he has.
Look at that. Wow.
So yeah, that's one of the things that we do, and we are showing the young people that no matter what you did when you were able, you contributed something
Mhm.
to the
You are
community.
valuable, you know,
Amen.
and
Amen.
appreciated by
Right.
your community.
That's right. We like park with old people. We like park them in a corner. We don't
Mhm.
want to hear from them. We don't want, and that's the other
And
reason why
they've
we're
seen and experienced so much, we could
they're
learn a
libraries.
lot from them.
Yeah.
They're
And that,
walking museum,
yeah,
they're
that
walking
is one of the reasons.
resources.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we want to put in the mentor as a part of our classes moving forward, so that we have to go to our older people and recognize that they have something to offer us and share with us, and we are interested. You know,
Mhm. And do you do like if someone who is seeing this or have heard you know, about the program and they want to volunteer to be a mentor, how would they go about,
just
doing that?
contact just contact any of us. We will have our contact information on the flyers and on the ad.
Mhm.
Just reach out to anyone. We are accessible. Everybody knows Gwen, myself. Well, I'm not as popular as Gwen. I will not lie.
Mhm.
But we are here. Just contact us, please. We need as many as possible, especially for the people. We need as many volunteers, especially for the people who would not have anybody.
Mhm.
Because there will be some people who I just don't have no auntie granny close to me who is a fluent person. You
Mhm.
know,
And this is where
just
these voluntary mentors come in, you know?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. Okay, great. So this one is showing school.
L'escuela,
Mhm.
l'escuela with children and their flags, fanidira.
Mhm.
L'escuela Irahio, fanidira. What else? Gari-On, drums.
The drums. Mhm.
Yeah.
And they look
And
like they're a fedu.
Hafenuhe. I saw a clip
They're
from Roy
celebrating.
Cayetano at the with children from Gulisi at the tribute to Thomas Vincent Ramos. Man,
Mhm.
Habay Mahaya, Harumahaya,
What?
man, little children. So hats off to Gulisi, Miss Marsha, principal, all of them. Hats off and congratulations to them for promoting and pushing the little children. I also applaud the Battle of the Drums the other day. They had their first children primary school Battle of the
Yeah,
Drums. I
that was
applaud,
awesome. Awesome. I watched it
yeah,
yesterday. Wow.
I applaud the Habina Hawaiianoha Secretariat for pushing Wanaragwa the way it is supposed to be um, performed, danced, all of these things. It amazes me how our children are willing. I have my cousin's daughter in her early 20s. She just came in last night. It was important for her to be here for the 19th of November. I see a lot of young adults like that. It is important for them to be here for the which means they recognize, they see, they know who they are and they want to be
Mhm.
a part of celebrating, and I think that is excellent.
Mhm.
This is who we are.
Mhm. Indeed. So this other photo is showing
Arufa the hat.
a teacher,
Yeah,
right?
Arufa the hat or maestra or what else we say? Um Arufa the hat.
Mhm.
I know there are other words. I'm trying to remember the other words for teacher. But yes.
Mhm.
Um and that looks like Gulisi as well. Um
Mhm.
we
Yes,
used to we were the people, Garifuna people educated this country,
I've
Belize was
heard that
educated on the
time and
backs of
time
the
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
And our it at a price to us as a people because our um intellectuals left
Hmm.
to go and teach in other communities. So that left um gaping holes. One, two, families without the
Parents.
leader. So at a cost that we're still paying today. We educated our ancestors, our elders, our people, educated this country at a cost to ourselves. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I will always consider myself to be a teacher. So um, it is a profession that I continue to say is not as recognized as it should be when it is done right.
Mhm.
I have to set apart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And for you, you know, why teaching? How did you end
Oh,
up
that was a
in this
mistake.
profession?
I made a big mistake in my life and I ended up being a teacher.
What?
Tell you why. Um, I hope my thing not cut off before I said this story. It's an important one. When I wrote my last exam for sixth form, right? I did sixth form in Belize C.A. The day I wrote my last exam, I went over to UWI because I was going away to Jamaica or Trinidad or somewhere and study law.
Mm.
When I got there is when I was told, you can't just come and sign up for register for go to school. No, this is done months in advance.
What?
Plus, you have to be taking particular subject at sixth form so that you can matriculate. That's the first time I heard the word matriculate into law.
Hmm.
So,
Who knew?
Dana just saw. So, crestfallen, I walked over. You see the proximity of UB to the UWI Center in Belize City.
Yes, yes. I used to go to that UB
Yes.
sometimes.
So
Mm-hmm.
I walked over there and I asked them to show me what they're offering.
Hmm.
And I signed up for biology education and then I became a teacher.
Oh, wow.
But when I became a teacher, man, the first few years I was a teacher, I did not call myself a teacher. I did
Hmm.
not feel like I qualified to have that name teacher. Remember, my parents were teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like I qualified. But as a beginning teacher, I promised myself that one of these days I will be a teacher, a capital T teacher. My mom says that they're capital T and small T teachers. But
I like that. Never heard that before.
I promised myself that I would hone my skills, I would study hard, and I would be a teacher. Yes, because starting out and seeing stalwart teachers execute the way they executed, being professional as they were, I said, I can't say that I am anywhere near their stature as teachers. But I promised myself that I was going to be. And I can tell you without blowing my own horn or tooting my own horn that one of the best things I do is teach. One of the best things I've ever done was teach. I can't necessarily cook well. I can't necessarily drive well. I definitely can so and so. I can teach. And my students can attest to that.
Mm-hmm. And at what point in the journey of teaching did you then realize that it came to you cross that threshold from being a small T to a capital T teacher?
Capital
You
T.
know, at what
I am not sure.
juncture did that happen?
Yeah, I'm not
To
sure
make you say, yes,
exactly.
I,
Yeah,
I think
I
I'm
am.
here now.
I'm not sure exactly when, but I know that um I was from early on, I was putting in the effort. I was learning all I could learn and gradually I knew I definitely knew.
Mhm,
Um and when it came to delivering what I was supposed to be delivering the way I was supposed to be delivering, very quickly, when I started teaching, my students would be passing their exams, whether it was because I was at high school, primary school, high school, teaching. In Belize City, I taught at the primary school and high school level, and my students would do well in their exams. And when I came home, they put me straight into standard six. And one of my pride, one of the things that made me most proud was my children will pass their exams. That was a part of who I was, who I am. I'm your teacher. You have to
mhm,
pass because I'm your teacher. I
mhm,
teach you, and I wish all teachers would have that attitude, not
mhm,
or rang up your paper because I'm a teacher, you are the students, and I have that power for rang up your paper. No, because I am your teacher. You will do well. That was always my philosophy. You have me for this length of time. We are going to together get through this year. And when we're finished, you'll be successful. From
Mm,
primary school, I went back to the high school and my students passed their CXC. That was my pride. When I first did CXC, I
beautiful.
had 60% passes and I didn't what I did.
Mm,
Principal called me into the office and congratulated me. He said,
what?
because before that it was 30%.
Oh, wow.
30%, you said, we find out these a long time. 30%.
Wow.
So the following year, let's do it because your grade is my grade. We can't have no 60%. And after that, it was only in the 90s. Almost everybody is going to pass. Why? I know a teacher. And it was biology, which is a science, and those are not the easiest ones to get
Hmm. Oh,
students
yeah.
through.
Oh, yeah.
But I know a
Mhm.
teacher, so you are pass.
I just say I wish more teachers would think the way you do, would have that drive. It would make all the
Right.
difference in the world. Because, you know, students, kids, young people, they all need a champion, A
Yes.
champion makes all the difference. It makes you, move past your doubts,
Right.
from keep you from saying, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. Having a teacher who's a champion makes you look past that and work towards what you want to make happen. So I think that makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
And what advice would you give someone who is thinking about, going into the teaching arena, to be a teacher? What advice would you
I
give that
would
person?
I would tell anybody wanting to be a teacher, you have to give yourself to your students and you have to give it your all. Study as much as you can. A lot of us these days we go to school because we want a bigger paycheck. That's another reason, or that is not the main reason. Yes, all of us need a bigger paycheck. I will say that. But you learn as much as possible so that you could be as effective as possible. Give yourself your own benchmarks. Make sure that all the parts of a professional, you can tick them off. You are punctual, you are planning, you are seeking advice from those who are doing it well, and you are putting that into practice. Give yourselves, to your students, and to your class, and you will not go wrong. Um, Find out as much as you can. Plan, plan, plan. Make sure that your lessons are activity based so that one that minimizes your disciplinary issue. And the children they just have a good experience with you as their teacher. I know a teacher who used to always say, what you put in is what you get out. And I don't like cliches, but that is so true. Put in the effort. Imagine that. Be the teacher that you would want your child to have, right? Be that teacher. Put your child's educator told me this one. Put your child's face on the faces of your children and treat them like they are beloved of your heavenly Father. Please, each of them know who they are and love them accordingly.
Hmm.
Each one of the students that you receive, they are beloved of the heavenly Father. If your child's there here, no. Love them accordingly and love what you do. That's what I would tell them.
Hmm. Okay, thanks for that. And this is
Garawo,
showing, right, a photo of the Garifuna drum. What does the Garifuna drum mean to you?
um, it means a lot of things. Um, it means, and this is just because of a conversation that I had with Joshua Arana. So that kind of turned how I felt. Um, I'm thinking specifically about the Garawo for the Dugu,
Hmm.
the middle one being present. one the one of them signifying representing the ancestors, and the other on the other side representing the children who are to come. So there is a spiritual nature to it. It also means afedohani to
Mm-hmm.
me, like revelry. It means adding rhythm to songs, even church songs. When we go on retreat, luckily for us, we have our music team from the ministry that I lead in the Anglican Church. The music team is from Dangriga,
Mm-hmm.
so they are coming with the drums,
Beautiful.
and it signifies, in that sense, praise and worship. And we know that the Lord inhabits the praise of His people. So it also signifies that to me. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
funny
So,
Dira.
right, so they're showing the Garifuna flag. And what does the Garifuna flag mean to you?
Well, there are several interpretations, but I like the one that ties in the cultures. Well, black representing our African heritage, and yellow our Amerindian heritage. There are some people who say that it is from food and different things, but for me, and then the middle one being peace, the white one being peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's my interpretation, and I believe it's important to honor our ancestry, both the black and the African and the Amerindian.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was asking me how much of our language is from the different tribes in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that my understanding is that most of our language is from the Amerindian side, not from the African side. And because of the way we look, I guess, we always embrace the African,
Mm-hmm.
but we also have deep roots, deep Amerindian roots. And if it is in fact that majority of the language is Arawakan, then most of what we are is, because the language, for me, the culture is displayed or brought through by the language. That is why I'm so afraid for us to lose our language.
Mm-hmm.
My dad said one time when I was asking him about it, that the newer songs, some of them, he recognized the rhythm, he recognized the beat, but he not recognized the words,
Mm.
because they're spontaneous music to other language words, So 100 years from now, will anybody be able to create a new Garifuna song?
Hmm. That's a very good question. Wow. The beauty of it, though, is that, there are many people, such as yourself and Gwen and others who are making an effort to make sure our Garifuna language is preserved. So, you know, hopefully in 100 years, because of the time and the effort of all these initiatives, you know, we will have more Garifuna native speakers as opposed to the opposite. So it starts now. It starts now. So this photo is showing the picture of a road
Won't.
or highway.
Uma, Uma.
Oh my. Okay. And in your travels, what have you learned in terms of the work that you're doing?
In my travels, man, I've shared with you my experience in Yurumein, in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, and that
Mm-hmm.
really made a difference for me. in even starting or stepping out into this work. I remember going to Dominica, and again, as principals, when the people give the history of Dominica, we are in their history. They talk about us when they get to the part where we were the how Black Caribs came about and what happened to the Black Caribs. There's a Kalinago village. They and when by the way, when they say and the Garifuna people are now living here and there and in Belize, as I have a Nachubaru. Yes, we that. Uh,
Ah.
when we went to the Kalinago village. Now I did not know that Caribs. That's Mama Hiri. That's not their name. Carib is not their name.
Mm,
Carib. The people who refer to as Carib actually call themselves Kalinagos.
mm.
So when we went to the Kalinago village and we assembled in the hall, Abalerengo Griga Lira, Mabwiga, Jesus, Kate, that was his greeting. Mabwiga. My
Wow,
greeting. That, you know? So
wow.
the tie in to remember, well, I actually learned this in Yurumein that Joseph Chatue was chief of chiefs, meaning he was also chief of other islands,
What?
not only St. Vincent and the Grenadines, yes, and
Wow.
Mangalaj.
What a
And that would
revelation. Wow.
yeah, that would explain why the Garifuna, or we have Garifuna ancestry, even in Dominica. What I wish had happened when I was a student in high school, and they're talking about, I hated Caribs
Hmm.
because the teacher, me not know that we,
Mm.
I did
Wow.
not know that.
That means
The
the
teacher
teacher
never
did
said,
not do a good job.
yeah, when the
Probably they
teacher,
themselves don't know.
yeah,
So
the teacher
you
is
can't
talking,
teach
and
what you don't know.
this is Dangriga. I was in high school, early 1980s. And the teacher is talking about these Caribs who wipe out the Arawak, and they're so horrible. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
my heart of hearts,
Mm-mm-mm.
how did I agree, yeah, who just
Wow.
hateful like that?
Mm.
Never once did the teacher, 4 years of high school, tie in. People, oh no, sitting in here in this classroom, majority of you have Carib Indian, and it would have been even better, Kalinago if they knew ancestry. That's the blood that runs through you. Hinga. Okay.
Wow. Wow. Well, if we didn't know, now we know. Wow. What a difference.